Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's the Tuber. Welcome back. It is your fifth High School Musical, the musical, the series episode review. When I turned on this episode and I saw it was a whopping 50 minutes long, I knew we were going to be in for a good episode. And this wasn't a good episode. This was a great episode. I think this felt more like not the climax, the midpoint of the season, where like everything's on the table. This I think was the most emotionally charged episode of the five. Well, yeah, of the five so far of the season, and I was just undoubtedly impressed. And like so far, and I'm saying this bullishly, that this season has the potential. And obviously, I said last year was like season 3 was the best one of the 3 so far, based on different merits. Season 4 feels like it's accomplishing so much in so little of a time period for last season, yet everything is working out perfectly. And I'm very happy to say that, because I didn't know exactly what the hullabaloo was going into this fourth season. And the more I've heard about now, and the more I've now seen it, obviously, once again, I haven't seen the last 3 episodes yet. I'm waiting to review them live to talk about it, so I can understand like the complexities of everything. But just right now with this episode, this being a very crucial episode, and this episode also showcases growth with not just the cast, with their characters, also the team behind the scenes, with just how much they've come in 4 years of television. Like, it honestly does feel like, that every year of the show has been like, season 1 was freshman year, season 2 was sophomore year, season 3 was junior year, this is senior year, obviously. And just how much has grown. And like, obviously they're not afraid to delve into like a little bit of like, mature like, I'm not talking about graphic topics, but like actual serious topics about life. And it's like, whenever like shows haven't really done much of that since the 90s, since even the early 2000s, because like obviously things have changed. And like, yes, High School Musical, the musical, the series is technically a kids show, but they are understanding like, this is the end of the road. The people who have grown up with the show in the last 4 years, they've grown up too, so they understand the material. And like just seeing these characters actually develop like emotional growth, like they're at crossroads at different stages of their life, not showing like this scary part of like, for everyone, the future. And that is undoubtedly the most scariest part of everybody's life, especially when you're a teen wrapping up high school, beginning college. You have no idea what the heck is going to happen next in your life, because at the same time you just aren't not prepared for it. And the fact that this show actually talks about where like, thankfully we're at this turning point where like, yeah, let's actually train these kids to like know what the hell they're doing. Sometimes you're still going to fall through the cracks. You may not know exactly what you're doing, but it's the words of the older generation to pass on to the younger generation, to be able to change earlier, to be able to make their lives better as a result. And honestly, I think this stands to be, as much as I really, really love the premiere, like I think this is a rival episode to that, where like, this is not like last week was like very over the top with the Halloween episode, but like this being like, more down to earth, more like we're just focusing on these characters, really kind of like, it's a full circle for most of these, to like, come back around, like, to, again, like as we're wrapping up the ship, it's imperative to see that. But with that being said, let's go for the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of High School Musical, the musical, the series. So we begin, Ricky's in college. No, we didn't jump that far ahead. It's been like, I want to say a week or so since the Halloween episode. And yeah, it's been a very, very tumultuous time for Ricky yet again, because on the heels that Gina never really told her mom about them, or him in general, like it hurt him a little bit. So what does Ricky usually does? He retreats, and guess who's gonna pick up the phone is EJ. And I'm like, I knew it, I called it. They can't afford it. Olivia Rodrigo back. Yeah, EJ's there. This is not really Ricky's time to like explore the college. He's not really here for the college. He's just here to like, he needs someone on the outside of the Wildcats to really understand what is going on in his life right now. What is really going on? What's like the template here? At the same time, Courtney's in Atlanta with her mom, scouting for school, but this isn't an Ivy League school. This is, I think the college is called Lewis College, I believe. I could be wrong on the title. I do apologize. But they're there because her mom said, I know you're focusing on the Ivies. I know that's your dream. That's what you want to do, really. But, like, is that what you really need to do? I obviously have some connections here. This seems like to be kind of your right cup of tea. I got a friend here whose daughter is attending here, so she's going to mentor you for the day. And hopefully maybe you'll be inspired to, like, have an open mind. Like, Ivies are pretty hard to get into. And as much as Courtney's got the grades and everything, Ivies might not be the path for her. It could be something else. So, you definitely have to, like, keep all your options open on that front. Meanwhile, back at East High, Gina's like continually to work on the movie. Slow but steady. Kind of weird that we haven't seen any of the legacy characters again in a while. Because again, as much as I said before, this isn't about the legacy characters. Obviously it's great that they are here, but I'm like, where'd they go? It's like they were there at randomly. Like again, like they didn't talk about it, but like. HSM4 is seeming like more and more like a figment of imagination. We're like, what is this movie about? Again, like I know it's about like Gina and Max characters, like their love story in a way, but I'm like I don't know. I really don't know how the director pitched it when she was pitching the project. But like Gina is about to go into the rehearsal room, but she already sees Miss Jen talking to Principal Ernie about the fact that Principal Ernie is a bit concerned that. Okay, we've been hearing a lot of hullabaloo with the movie and everything. Like your musical's not really getting much traction in terms of like people that are willing to work on it. And Ms. Jen's like, no worries, no problem. Like, everything's Gucci. And he's like, okay, so it would be great if I would be part of the rehearsals tonight, actually see you guys in action. And she's like, totally, that's totally fine. And obviously they picked a horrible time period to do so because Ricky and Courtney are out of state. I guess Danny never fully accepted the role, Gabrielle. I guess after Ricky burned her and everything. Obviously Gina's busy with the movie. Carlos is in a depression state, and everyone else is, sick apparently. So like, it's really the worst time for this right now. But like, obviously things had to happen for a reason. It's like, again, like really poor timing in a lot of people's front, like for this all to occur. Gina's overhearing this and is like, it's feeling bad because like, again, like she's chose the movie in a way, but like she still loves the musical and she still wants to be there for them, and like she wants to prove that I can be there, I can still make this work. However, her work schedule for the movie, considering the fact that they've increased her role significantly, is to somehow shoot 22 scenes in one day. And I'm like, wait, you're talking about you want to do 22 scenes. Okay, you know what's a decomp? It's a freaking Disney. It's a Disney movie. It's possible. It's a high school. It's possible. Never mind. I'll shut the hell up. She pitches to the director about the idea. She's like, no, because everything is different. Everything is complex, and it's impossible. We can barely shoot a scene a day as is. That's all we're gonna do. Mac interjects and is like, this would be a great idea. To like, get the crew like a little bit of like, hey, we can finish up early and and still get the movie done on time. So like, why not do so? Quinn still denies their idea, considering the fact it's bombastically outrageous, but they bring up some article from like one of her rivals, and she's like feels insulted. I'm like, oh, so you don't think I can do it? You don't think I got the energy to shoot 22 scenes in a day? Well, you know what? That's what we're about to do. It's time for a montage of sorts. So yeah, so Gina and Mac are shooting the entire, basically a good quarter of the movie in one day. Which I'm like, I'm pretty sure they already did that in the original decon, but whatever. It is what it is by that point. But so they're shooting the entire thing. And it's obviously clear that they're starting to begin to develop their own relationship. Not romantically, but just like, a kinship of like, that, yeah, Matt clearly does have certain feelings for Gina, and Gina, but clearly has feelings for Ricky. But, it's still a very much a mutual, respectful work relationship in a matter of speaking, especially as like they're somehow able to like shoot all these scenes very, very quickly, and they're actually like getting it done. They're actually like making progress on this movie. Meanwhile, nearby to East Side, but not terribly close by. Ricky is now visiting in EJ's dorm. He's in college. Well, I forget what entirely. I remember he did apply for a program in summer, and that was like going to be like kind of his gap year away before he attends the official college. I don't know if this is the official college. They're not really clear about that. It was kind of vague. But he's kind of he has a whole new life. EJ's now an RA for the building. He's also got his own door. He has sadly been cut off from his father's wealth, so that means everything here he's paying for on his own. He's somehow working 4 jobs, running 2 clubs, and trying to kind of make a relationship work all at the same time. And honestly, like, yeah, that's the college grind. Like, like not everyone's privileged to like have financial aid or have parents that are willing to pay for the whole thing for the 4 years. Like, it can be rough out there to like manage a job and an education. It is very hard. I did that myself. Not because my parents didn't care for me or support me, but it's because I wanted to do that. I wanted to get the work experience while at the same time get an education. So, I completely understand what EJ's talking about. Where like there are nights where like you don't get any sleep because you just gotta work the 8 hours and then you gotta make your homework done. You gotta get your reports done. You gotta get everything done, as well as to have a social life, have that ability to like not fully feel burned out. And I definitely feel for EJ here, and obviously Ricky's kind of like impressed by it because like the EJ like. This EJ is really more well developed. It's more grown. He's like obviously the last 3 seasons have done a number in EJ's, psyche and like, everything he's been pushed for, where like he went from like having the picture perfect cool guy life to basically like being like a lot of things being like kind of swept under the rug from him. And college was kind of like the restart he needed for him in his life to like figure out who am I? And honestly, that's exactly like I've been wanting for, because as I kind of complained before in my earlier episode reviews, like previously when he was part of the main cast, was that what is EJ's role? Like, why is EJ on this show? Because like originally he was just meant to be a foil between Nene and Ricky, and then the rest of the season 1 was kind of like him just like loafing around, obviously doing things for his character, but like obviously everything was slow pieces to where we are now, where like everything EJ went through in his senior year to last season's summer was all crucial for EJ to be this person where he is. We're like, yeah, it's only been 2 months since he's been away, 2-3 months, but like a lot has changed for him. Like, he's definitely is not the same person. He's still the same person deep down, but he's still very much a different person at the same time. He's more grown. He's more wise in a way. And like, he's looking at Ricky. It's like, yeah, I can feel like you look like crap, man. You look like shit. It's like, you look terrible. And, while Ricky doesn't go for the full story of what he's been going through, it's like, a lot's been on Ricky's mind lately, especially like nothing seems to be working out for him yet again, where like, it's either Gina or his dad, his education, his future in college, like everything is really not going the way that he expected, which I'm like, you know what, Ricky, you do this every time. You always like, you get the girl, you get some like, actually it's usually the girl, where you feel like this is it, this is the moment, and I'm ready to like, actually start life as is, and then something obviously pops up, because that's part of life. Like, there's always going to be obstacles. Like, you're never really going to have a picture perfect life. And EJ's hearing him about that, like, yeah, I feel sorry for you that you're going through all that, but like, sometimes life is going to throw you down a couple of pegs sometimes, even if you think you're, succeeding. Ricky notices his guitars. He has an acoustic guitar and a electric guitar, and they start doing a little song that EJ's been writing on the side, like kind of like a little bit of his passion project, so to speak. And, I really, really vibe with this scene because, it's, again, another culmination of like EJ and Ricky's relationship, because let's be honest, the last 3 seasons for them have been very much rocky, where like it's either they're fighting over Nene or they're fighting over a play, or like they just have like, now with Gina, and then they have just the entire baggage of like Ricky always steals EJ's girlfriends, which I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. And I'm like, obviously I would feel that same way if like some guy was like trying to go after every one of my girlfriends. Like, definitely, like, I'm gonna take like offense to that. But the fact is, like, they've been through so much besides all the girl drama, that they've actually were able to like develop this like weird kinship of like, yeah, on paper they should not be friends on paper, but like their experiences together and like just the emotional roller coasters they've both been through side by side help them bond in a way, not in the exact pace of like you would when you have a best friend, but like in a very weird, like parallel experience type of way, if that makes sense. So they sing a little song. It's honestly like a very nice, soft, simple song. Them expressing their feelings, EJ about like how things are kind of how they is, and like, he's trying his best, and Ricky with his, everything on his mind right now. So again, it's again like paralleling what's actually going on in reality, and it's like what they need to like express their feelings. We cut over back over to Lewis College, where Courtney's having a blast with the college tour. It's like everything is going well, but she's still a little hesitant of like, well, the Ivies is where I belong. Because, you know, I got the 4.0 GPA. I'm the valedictorian. I'm, you know, really succeeding almost everywhere in life. That the Ivies should be my goal. They should be my reward for everything I've done. And she's like, and her mentor is like, yeah, no, you're entirely right. You've done so much. I was like you too. Like, I was very much dead set to be an Ivy person, but at the same time, it's like, well, that's not where life intended you to be. Like, you know, you can be the smartest person in your class and still not go to the Ivies for one reason or another. It could be financially. It could be just you have a feeling like this place is where I belong. Like, you never really know. Like, life will always guide you in its own mysterious ways. And, you know, as much as Courtney still is like, you know, very descent about, there's a lot of things that is beneficial to that, you know, speaks to Courtney's, you know, ideology, and it speaks to her, you know, what does she want to have in her future, where like this is a very predominantly like it's a college that very much helps, you know, Black students like be able to like progress further in life, get more opportunities specifically in this field. Like, you know, it's like a community where like we're all supporting each other. And honestly, again, this is going around to Courtney's values a little bit. She's definitely resonating with this, as well as there's a chapel on campus. So I'm like, there's a lot of things to benefit, not benefit, like a lot of opportunities Courtney can have if she comes here that some of the Ivies won't do. Like, I'll say this for example, maybe it could be dated because it's a play from a movie, and it's like in the Heights, where one of the characters, I haven't seen the movie in a couple years, but one of the characters went away to Harvard, I want to say, and she was very predominantly outcasted because she was Latina, and you know, there was like not really like, again, I never been to those colleges. I never even tried to apply because like my grades were like not the worst, but like, but I knew it wasn't gonna hit. I knew that for a fact. So in that movie, like she was explaining, like she was just very she didn't belong there. Like, that's not the place where she would have went to. And it's also about the sense of like, when you go to a college, like preferably, like, yeah, it's also financially. It's also about what are they going to benefit to you on your education from? But it's also like, does it have a sense of belonging? Like, you know, is this the right place? Is this where you should be spending the next 4 years of your life? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes you're going to struggle with that decision. It's not going to be an easy choice off the gate, to be honest with you about that. Then we cut up and back to East High, where all of a sudden, Big Red's back, but he ain't Big Red anymore. His hair is now orangey, brownish. Like, it's the hair color went away. It faded away. He's not wearing glasses, different outfit. He's speaking a little bit more confidently in himself. He's like, you know, speaking more directly. Obviously, Ashlyn's like really surprised, like, you know, what are you doing here? Like, you should be in Cairo right now. And he's like, no, I have a birthday celebration today. So I flew back out here for the day, and I'm going to head back once this event is over. And he said he had to talk to her about something, and it's pretty important. And he admits, like I said in the last video, my prediction, my allusion to a prediction, but that Big Red was the one that Seb cheated on with from Carlos. And yes, Big Red confirms it was, you know, Seb that he was the Big Red was the mistress in a way, but he explains it was they went to the movies when everyone was at summer camp. They were depressed because like their partners were away, and they kind of just needed a commodity between them. And then by accident they triggered a kissing scene between them. But it's like it was a very short kiss. They immediately regretted it, and they tried their damn best to hide it and just like admit that it didn't happen. But at the same time, for Big Red, like, well, obviously we know that it triggered other emotion. Like, he doesn't just like girls, he likes boys too. And so that's kind of where his bisexual nature came out. And again, announcing it on a documentary for your girlfriend to see for the first time instead of hearing it in person, yeah, that wasn't entirely like the best move to play, to be honest with you. But like, you know, it is what it is from that front. Then also you had at the same time, Ashlyn's reaction were like, you know, obviously she knows that, you know, Carlos probably told her that, like, yeah, Steph cheated on me with some guy. And the fact that the guy was her guy, it's like, how do you feel that, you know, that happened, that trigger? But obviously Ashlyn's been filled with her own emotions about, you know, her sexuality being more open now, and also as well as, you know, her feelings for Maddox. And she admits that to Big Red that like yeah, I've also been through my own like challenges this summer. Like I've had feelings for another girl, and then now I have feelings for someone else right now, and it's like it's been struggling in my vein, and like obviously these two are still a couple, by the way. They're still a couple by this point. It's like, how do you approach that? Like I have feelings for and Big Red's good. I have feelings for the other gender, and for Ashlyn, like she has feelings for the other gender too, but as well as she has a specific crush on someone. That how do you really accept that? How do you really manage that? And like how do you navigate through that? And like the way they talk about each other, like yeah, obviously Ashlyn was briefly hurt, but like she even admits like, well, I almost kissed Manic, and like I've been through this entire few months like talking to her and like definitely gaining legitimate feelings for her, and like now it's like for sure like she totally has to feel like she likes her, and even Big Red's like, I know she likes you too, like at least that's how the documentary pitched it. And honestly, it's like, yeah, like definitely they kind of came to the realization of like, this is healthy that we were able to contact each other and like, before we did anything super, super drastic. And like, yeah, apparently this is a very clean breakup. I mean, not real. I mean, Big Red still cheated on you. Like, you can't really dismiss that. But you know what? Potatoes, potatoes. So they agree to break up, and, now they're going to be friends and support each other on their own ventures and, all that sort. And they're still supporting each other. Like, Big Red still says to her, like, I don't regret ever giving you flowers on the opening night of High School Musical. I never regret that. As well as the same time on the opposite spectrum of, like, for Ashley, like, telling him, like, yeah, but you have to talk to Carlos. Like, Carlos is a complete wreck right now. He is a nightmare right now. You need to talk to him. And, yeah, Carlos is a complete nightmare. He's not deaf mode anymore, but he's very much, like, moody, grumpy, less stylish, and yeah, he's just like not really knowing what to do anymore. Like his entire heart's been ripped out of him, right now. And Miss Jen obviously just going through kind of like a breakup of her own. She's like, she can relate to that. And like, even though there's like a rehearsal deadline coming soon, it's like, these two, you really should be working right now. Like, the fate of the musical's in your hands yet again. And they're like, nah, like, nah, we're good. Like, we're going to watch a movie and like, just like eat ice cream and like, blow tissue, which I'm like, if that was ever to happen in my school, like when I was in school at any point in my life, I would be like, what's wrong with these two people? Anyway, we cut over back to EJ and Ricky, who have finished eating dinner. Ricky's obviously is being tormented about Gina's, growing connection with Mac. Even EJ's like checking in, is like, huh. That's how things are going. Like I love scenes where like that, where like, you have a long running franchise and you have a character that leaves and then they briefly come back for a cameo and they're just checking in what the problem is right now. It's like, good thing I'm not part of that problem. And they get to a little bit of a much more like, serious debate about everything, about like, what should Ricky do now? And, EJ is very frank to Ricky. Like, I think he's like, this is the emotional slap he's been waiting to give to Ricky throughout the last year, where like every time Ricky has a problem, he runs away. When Nene told him that she loved him, he ran away. When his mom came back from Chicago at opening night with a new guy, he ran away. I forgot what he ran away from in season 2 or 3. I completely forgot. But like, it's in Ricky's characteristics to run away. But it's not just being characteristic. He's just afraid that he doesn't want to confront the change. He doesn't want to confront what really is going on deep. Then that he has resentment. He is afraid, and you can't be afraid when you grow up. You have to face forward. And sometimes it is scary. Sometimes it's not scary. Like you definitely need to like just go up ahead. And like he admits, like like I think seriously, Gina does love you. She does have massive feelings for you because Gina's the type of person, like, she will not waste her time on a casual date. She will not waste her time in a casual relationship on someone she doesn't at least legitimately see a future with. I know that for me, and I see that with you, that, like, she generally cares about you. And, when me and her broke up, like, it hurt a lot. But at the same time, like, you're my brother, and I see the potential that you two have a much better connection than me and her had. So I'm like, I want to support you. I want to see that you guys are still going strong, and I'm going to be honest with you, if you break Gina's heart for one reason or another, I will forever hate you. And I'm like, damn, that's like basically the PG-13 version of saying, I'm going to kill you. And, Ricky's taking that to heart, like, finally, after all this year, like, dealing through so much, and, like, bringing back everything he mentioned of, like, again, like, it's go back to Ricky's feel, right? He does not like change. He doesn't like when something doesn't go his way, or something is, like, going off the beaten track about it. But again, that's the part of life. You can never really predict these things. You're gonna have to keep moving forward and just hope for the best. But at the same time, there's gonna be stumbles. There's gonna be falls. There's gonna be moments where like you literally are busted up, and like you kind of have to figure out, what do I do now? Like, what is the next thing to really do? And I could really resonate with that. Really, again, EJ like saying like, that's it for now. Like, I can't really say more because you got to go home before the storm happens. But I'm like, yeah, definitely. Like, you and I are brothers, and definitely, if you ever need a call, if you ever need like a friend to speak up to, like, I will be there for you. And again, like, it's very sweet that they hug, and even Ricky's like, why didn't we hang out before? Like, before this moment. And he's like, well, you keep stealing my girlfriend, which I'm like, yeah, Ricky, you weren't really exactly the nicest guy to EJ. Like, as much as EJ was the cool guy, you were kind of fucking him over a lot. So Ricky begins to drive back home to go talk to Gina finally, and like, confess his emotional state to her. Then we cut back over to Lewis, where like, again, Courtney's still very much debating, like, is Lewis the right path for her, or should she just continue to stick with the Ivy program that she was like, settling onto? However, she eventually goes into this chapel, prays to God, trying to get the answers that she's looking for. She sees a nearby chorus group about to begin a song. She kind of gets mesmerized by them, trying to go up to them. She joins them in song. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, this all feels like we're giving Courtney a spinoff. Like, I'm not going to say it is or not. Like, obviously, it would be cool to, like, continue Courtney's journey. Like, honestly, again, like I said last time, as a producer's dream, I would love to see like the franchise continue. I really hope that in a future where the strike is over, I mean, I assume it will be over eventually, but like, I would assume that Disney kind of like sees the potential here. It's like, why not do a spinoff? Like, people are clamoring for more Ricky and Gina. I don't know how the season's going to end with their story, but I'm like, it could be the Troy and Gabrielle effect. Like, let's just leave them happily ever after for the time being. I don't know how it's going to end. I really don't know. I really do not know, but in the sake of this, I'm like, I would rather them like actually just kind of like leave it oblivious, vague, like they did for Troy and Gabriella after they graduate. Just kind of leave it like the hopefulness that they survived, the hopefulness that they made it. Then you have the effect of obviously Courtney, where like she's always like, she can, like, honestly, I think she would kill in her own spinoff. I really could, and like definitely this scene, like with her singing, like definitely like. There's more, there could be more story to tell. I really believe that. I really, really do. Like, just the way they really, like, not really stretched out the world. This was not a backdoor pilot for whatever means, but, like, this scene kind of just gave me that spin-off vibes. But we'll see. You never really know. Maybe Courtney will go the route, Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, get her own movie. Who the heck knows? We come back to East High, where, Ashton comes back in with Big Red. Obviously, they're still very, very worried about like everything about to happen with like the rehearsals and everything. It's got to go off without a hitch. Only Emmy's here, and like a lot of the other dancers are currently, battling sickness, ironically. Ashley has to go to make a call to Maddox, admitting her feelings to her. And Big Red just is alone with Carlos, and he's like, so, that guy Seb cheated on you with? It's me. I'm the guy. And Carlos is just like freaking baffled, like, you? It was you all along? And it's like, well, I mean, at least this wasn't a total stranger. And obviously Big Red's trying to apologize to him and everything, but obviously Carlos doesn't want to hear it right now, and he leaves the room. And down goes another member of the team. Ashton gives Maddox a call, but her girlfriend picks up and obviously just reminds Ashton of like, yeah, Maddox is still with the other girl. I completely forgot about that. So definitely it's just another one of those, like, dream crushing moment. Again, I can totally relate to that. I really can. Gina and Mac are able to finish up the final scene before literally they have to go home because of their the mandatory age curfew. And they're very impressed by, they actually managed to convert this very, I forgot the terminology for it, but like a very complicated setup shot for this entire scene and turn it into like a Steadicam scene, which, again, will it work out in the movie? I don't know, because this movie doesn't even exist. But I'm like, if it was a movie, I would be like, it depends on how they edit it in post. Gina's mom shows up to congratulate her for like a massive day, for like a really big day between them, and she wants to have Mac over for dinner. Obviously, Gina's like, wait, hold on, I got the musical, but of course, obviously, she can't really tell her that, so like she has no choice but to insist that like, okay, I'll go with you. to dinner, and they're talking. It's a very casual, like, eating conversation, her getting to know Mac a little bit. But it's the obvious assumption, like, okay, a boy's over my daughter's house. It's got to mean that, like, he has a thing for her. And, like, even she said, like, yeah, I assume you and Mac have really hit it off. And, like, this could be a good, real relationship for you. And Gina obviously feels insulted because, like, this is not he is not the real reason why he's happy. He's not the real reason why she's doing all this. And she admits to her about everything about Ricky, about everything that's going on. And we get the as the rain begins to pour downwards, we get the same timing with Ricky arriving to Gina's house, ready to confess to her about, like, everything, even buying another chocolate and flowers for her, like, to simulate back in season 2. But no, that wasn't the case. No, he just sees Mac, going close to Gina with her mom laughing. And, like, obviously, like, any guy would be like, oh, I've already been replaced. And honestly, like, this was going to be the beginning. I don't know why. As much as I would have said it's a cliche of, like, the guy sees his girl with another guy and everyone's happy around them in the rain and just he's going to walk away and just admit defeat. And normally, no one ever notices the guy in the rain. It's like he's being poured out there with the rain and no one's watching him. It's just like, it's the cliche trope, but I just, like, I would have loved it if, like, Ricky just, like, it would have been the one time I would have been okay if, like, Ricky walked away and Gina only noticed him at like, the last second, like, just to, like, continue the drama over for another episode. But no, it's another breaking of the norm. Gina, like, sees him. Like, she actually, like, I should look outside. He's like, oh, shit, that's Ricky's backside. She runs up to him and, she tells him, yeah, I told my mom everything. We're good. Like, she knows everything. And, Ricky's happy and they kiss in the rain, which I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. When this season came out, I was on Twitter for a brief bit, and this was trending. This image was trending, and I was just like, is this the ending of the show? Is this how the season ends, with a kiss in the rain? And I'm like, that would have been pretty iconically shot in a way, but, like, I'm like, I kind of hope for something else, and I'm like, okay, it's not in this episode. Okay, good. So it's in this episode, so I'm like, good. We can save, like, a much more cooler thing for, like, the actual finale in a few episodes from now. But to wrap up the episode, sadly, with everyone kind of distracted with their own things, only Emmy shows up to the rehearsal, and the principal's like, yeah, so I'm not going to have to cancel the musical. Like, there's just really no sense to continue, which I'm like, this fucking principal's a piece of shit. I'm sorry, Principal Ernie, you suck as a principal. But that was it for this week's episode of High School Musical, the series. For me, again, I think this is the best episode of the season thus far. They definitely took advantage of the very long runtime. This was needed to tell a much lengthier story, giving Ricky and EJ some, like, full circle moments, Big Red and Ashley as well, Courtney with her, like, realization for her future, Gina, like, fighting for, like, like, that. In a way, she does belong in Hollywood. Like, this is her chance. This is her moment. And, like, she is taking full advantage of it. Oh, I forgot. There was a scene where the director calls up her agent and says, like, yeah, I have an idea for my next movie. And you already know who the stars are. Which I'm like, oh, no. I can see where this is going. This is not going to end well. But everything was just so freaking perfect. Like, everything was. Like, again, they're defining cliche. They're not doing anything to, like, progress this, like, very lazy-ish, like, typical storyline. No, everything is different. Everything is unique. And that's what I love about this show, especially now at this point in the season where, like, they know what works and they know what doesn't work. And they find a way to keep it going, still have comedy in there, and still have these emotional moments that, like, are resonant. Ricky and EJ are, like, have the best, weirdest bromance since Troy and Chad. So I'm like, they definitely, like, they acknowledged that, but in their own way, and it worked out so well. And I'm actually pretty bummed we didn't get the boys are back scene between them. I'm actually a little bit bummed. I'm like, that would have been the perfect time to put them in this episode. But I'm like I said, not everything from the movie is going to be adapted to the show, which I'm like, I guess this was a casualty. If this wasn't going to be in the scene, it wasn't going to happen anywhere else. So we're going to have to accept it as may. But overall speaking, this was, I think, the best episode of the season so far. I cannot wait for the next 3 episodes to go binge them. Probably not today, but, like, another day from now. It's gonna suck because, like, I'm busy. I'm swarmed the next few days, so I'm like, I'm really good. They're really making me work for, like, to get to that episode finale. It's really hurting me, but we'll get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. But for now, I'm gonna give this episode 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it so much. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of High School Musical, the musical, the series. I would love to hear your comments down below, as always. But I believe that's gonna do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's to Do from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the final season of High School Musical, the musical, the series. If you want to know what we're doing or what's to do besides our HSMTMTS reviews, currently right now we are doing Heels episode reviews and Nancy Drew episode reviews each and every week after brand episodes on their respective platforms. However, if you don't care about High School Musical, you're in luck. We should be back in a couple more days from now for the next episode review, so stay tuned until then. Again, like I said, next up is 6. Then I believe once 6 starts out, it's literally a straight right to the finale. I don't think there's anything else on the roster right now besides that. And I can actually go back to other, because I have so many projects that have yet to be edited. But High School Musical is like important, and I got to do that first because like it's fresh and everything, and I want to see the end. So I'm like, I'm struggling a lot, but I'm slowly winding down the ship. I really am. So I'll see you guys in a couple days. But then again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring the bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, for all you Wildcats out there, thank you so much for watching. But until next time, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always,